¿Qué pasa, familia de dinero? I'm your host, champion of dinero, a truck driver on a detour towards wealth, and I hope that you join us on this journey. And if you are already a subscriber and already a part of the familia, I want to say a grand thank you to you. I usually will hit like the clapping stuff, but thank you so much for clicking on this video. This one, we're going to be talking about how expensive everything is getting, and it doesn't seem like it's going to get any better anytime soon. It's going to take some time, but I do have some solutions for everybody that's looking for a little bit of a scapegoat in order to create some money. We're going to be rambling and talking. If you're a new viewer, all I ask for you to do is sit back, relax, and buckle up. I am in my semi, so hopefully, you know, typically I'm back in the studio. Just tonight I gotta do my job, but I got to create the content that I have to, and this is a motivational Monday. So we're gonna start off a little bit doom and gloom, and everything is ridiculously expensive. Now, when I was a kid, I remember my dad would literally like fill up two cartfuls and of food, bacon, all this stuff. And to see that in this generation, that we went from like $7, I remember getting paid at my very first job, $7.25. Now, we're talking about millennials and Gen Z, okay? If you're older than that, no shade or anything like that, but I'm just saying my kind of interpretation of life as I grew up. And $7.25, it was already low at that time. I think about 4 years went by and that was still the minimum wage. Obviously, it jumped up almost 100%. I think above 100%, because even that same job is like $15 an hour at this point. And it doesn't seem like wages are catching up with inflation. And we had such a long period with inflation that they did the 50-point cut recently, and then they're going to have another one here soon, and they're looking at a 25% cut because of how fast inflation is just going down. Deflation is starting to become a factor within the economy, which is very much concerning. Now, like I said, my dad had two carts fulls of items, and it would cost him around $200-300. Today, if I were to get that same cart full, no question about it, I would be around maybe possibly $600 to $800. And this was quality food. The craziest part is like organic, real healthy food is obviously going to cost you a lot more. And so just to get natural food, as if you were to take it, see, I have a uncle who has his own farm. He slaughters his own cattle, gets his own eggs and everything like that, right? All he does is take, obviously it's a process that he learned, a process that he has cultivated over time, but it's a natural process that should have been instilled in almost every American. The problem is that we have a society where we get everything comes to us. We don't have to go overseas and get a mango. We don't have to do certain kind of activities in order to require our breakfast in the morning, right? It would be like, oh, you have to go slaughter a pig and start cutting off the bacon off of that pig. You don't have to do that. Give me 1 second. I really do find it that we are severely handicapped, not only to a lot of things that we're exposed to, like our phones, but we're severely handicapped when it comes down to hunting, gathering, and actually going after a lot of things, especially within millennials, young millennials, and Gen Z. And it is a hard time. Even for myself, I look at it like, okay, you know, I am a truck driver, I do stocks and whatnot, but it seems like that's just not enough. It's like, even when you get a little bit partially there, you're almost making it, for some reason, there's this block. There's this coding within this world that, okay, you made it just a little bit, but now you have new obstacles, so you have to go over that, and to see how much stress, how much are you willing to go through in order to make it. But I gotta say, about 10 years ago, let's just say I'm making exactly what I'm making 10 years ago from now, because I think when I entered the workforce about over 10 years ago, I would have been doing fantastic. Shoot, I was doing fantastic with $2,000 a month at a full-time job in sales. Of course, I could have made more stuff, but like, just how drastic the world has just went from it's a little too fast. I mean, cell phones, it got to a point, I think, like iPhone, and we'll get to the main thing, but this is a rambling video. But I think though, when the iPhone stopped upgrading was honestly like iPhone X. That was my favorite iPhone out of all of them. And now I don't really care about the updated iPhone unless it's like something substantial, pushing forward the envelope. But like the dock that came up here with the new, this is like the iPhone 14, but it had like a little floating dock, and really it's not worth it. I'm gonna pay this off, and then I'm gonna just chill until I see substantial movement forward. But we can see prices of phones go up, we can see the prices of goods go up, we're seeing the prices of gas luckily come down. But again, I remember a time not too far distant. I mean, I you know, thank God that I've been on this earth, but I haven't been on it long enough to really see a substantial change. But I'm seeing gas go at one point, I think like 2 years ago, to $4 or $5 here in the Midwest. But you know, if you're out there in the West Coast or Far East, you're kind of already known that, hey, these prices are inflated. So you come to an area like this, well, the cost of living is lower, the wages are lower comparable to yours. So our cost of gas for $4 is like your guys' cost of gas at like 7 or 8, which is insane, like double, or let's just say 7. But with an economy that is kind of like telling millennials to step down, and also Gen Z to step down, don't worry about it, don't even try to get ahead. I came up with a list of things. Again, this is a motivational Monday in order for people to get revitalized. I know that even my spirits have been low, especially due to the fact that I'm relying on a lot of things and they're just not going my way. But I understand that there's a few catalysts within my life that I've done in order to get ahead somewhat, or try to capitalize on what is going on around me. And I know that you can, if you were to implement these things, you would come out on top. There's no reason why I'm a truck driver working 60 hours a week, sometimes a little bit less, a little bit more, but there's no reason for me to be able to go to the gym, take care of my daughter, and then content create and all this stuff, right? It's not perfect, it's not beautiful, but here's a list of 5 things that I think that you should do in order to try to get ahead in this time. Now, it's up to you if you want to take these tips. To be honest, I use them myself. Everything off of this list, I'm not telling you something I haven't done. Number 1, create or become creative. If you are somebody that has art, if you're somebody that can pretty much do coding, if you can create anything, you know, maybe you're a good editor, you create great videos, anything in the spectrum of creating, people are willing to pay the price once you show your work. And it's not going to come immediately. A lot of these stuff, a lot of people want to get ahead. Well, this is the thing. Start now, you'll get ahead when the next big bad time of the economy is kind of like hurting everybody. You'll be ahead. You have to start now in order to get ahead later. This is the thing. Let me ask you this question. Had you start any of these things 5 years ago, do you think you would be in a better or less better position, I don't know if that makes sense, than you are now? I think I would be better, because guess what? I've done these things. Had I stuck to my guns on these things, I would have been ahead. So create something. Use your talent. If it's music, like I've done, I have my songs on Spotify. You can go on there. It's Hotchur, HOTCHUR, and then I created 3 songs on there. You know, that's something that I pay for the rights of to license out the music. I put it on Spotify, Apple Music, and everything like that. So that is something that I created. These videos are a part of my creation, and I'm not getting paid. But I have had 2 channels monetized. One of them demonetized. I had to remonetize that one. The other one got demonetized. But I have a whole channel right now that's monetized, and I don't use it because I'm trying to recreate something better. You can't just really change your channel the way you want to. YouTube likes you to stay within a certain sector, which I understand. All right, next one, flip items for profit. So you might have heard of Makar, you might have heard of eBay, all of these, give me one second, all of these different kind of websites. I've used eBay exclusively. It is a learning curve. You need a labeling machine, a labeling machine. You need boxes to fit certain things. And a lot of the boxes come free if you order off of. I got a lot of game for you guys, but it is up to you to do the research. I can tell you it all, and you guys can take it and be like, oh, thank you, I got ahead. But you got to do the work in order to feel the passion and really get into something like this. So, for example, at one point I wanted to flip Funko Pops. It got too arbitrary for me, but pretty much I would buy a high demand Funko Pop, flip it. I would go to I would go to Goodwill, buy certain clothings that were in high demand, determining on the seasons, shoes. I was all over the place, and that's why I stopped doing it. But I did make money on there, substantial amount. Honestly, one of the hardest but also the easiest form of money that you can ever make is selling video games. But you would have to know which games are really good, which games are bad. How can you just create a bundle? It's very intricate. But again, if you want to make money, it's going to take effort. It's going to take effort. And I think that honestly, flipping items, you'll make more money faster than if you were to create, or some of the other, some of the last things on the list, or I would say the last thing on my list. The next thing is Uber Eats. I've done it when I was severely low. I'm talking about I had no money, nothing. I literally had to do Uber Eats in order to put gas in my own vehicle at that time. And I have to say that Uber Eats not only, kept my family when we were all together at one point together. On top of that, it gave me the opportunity to learn more about my city, what roads to go down, what roads not to go down, what new spots to eat, and all that. So I looked at it as like, okay, if I set up my car properly in order for it not to shake and the drinks wobble over, and I learned these techniques, you can do fantastic in that area. Some days I made $300, some days I only made $100. It all determines on how long you work and how much work you put in. I don't know how. I know that the rates have went down substantially, which is unfortunate. And my device wants to go ahead and shut off. Give me 1 second. All right, I had to plug that in, but pretty much it all determines on how much you put in. Work and whatnot, and unfortunately I forgot what I last said, but hopefully you guys got the concept of what I was saying, because I got distracted with that dang it charger. But next one is sales part-time. I've done this, and so it all determines on which route you want to do. You can take an item and try to sell the item. I say that maybe a call center job or some kind of job that you are able to, I like to do face-to-face sales. So that's my number one seller. I'm able to talk to people better face-to-face and rather on the phone. And I know that cold calls, I'm not a fan of cold calls, but if you can master cold calls, you can do pretty much anything. I've done it. Finding a sales part-time job, if you have the available time, it can actually maybe even make you more than your current job. If you're charismatic, if you're able to communicate, if you believe in the product, really, I would do sales. I mean, it's right up your alley. You're already that type of person, but you have to understand the type of person that you are. And we're living in a time where communication is severely lacking. So I think that these jobs are still highly sought after in this climate. Because not a lot of people want to do them. All right, last but not least, and it kind of can be used in all of these, is content creation. It does take a lot in order to figure out what your audience is. I've been on YouTube for over 10 years. My very first video on YouTube is still on here, and I ain't gonna tell you what it is. My first channel is still on here. And it has been a wild ride, just trying to be successful. And you know, my cousin, he was majorly successful on YouTube, and myself, I find it that, you know, getting monetized 3 times is definitely success in my eyes. I haven't gotten to 50,000 subscribers, but I have gotten into the thousands, and if I were to put all my channels together, I would be definitely in the thousands. No, not 10,000, but it'll be in the thousands, which I'm proud about. But content creation has always been something that when my parents gave me like this old like cassette tape, what's it called, camcorder, right? And it's the big one. You got the little strap over here. I remember my dad had the tripod, and I recorded everything. For some reason, the camcorder didn't record audio, but as a kid, I decided to grab a mic that my dad had, and we would kind of do like what do they do when you talk over, trying to like mimic the lines and whatnot. But it was such a fun time for me to edit and learn how to do it, and I was privileged enough to have a computer at a very young age, and I always loved content creation. I remember watching Smosh. I remember watching a lot of these old, like, I was all there for it. The beginning of the internet, the beginning of YouTube, when you could actually add a background to your like channel and everything like that. So it was a fun time to see how it grew, like literally from childhood to now. It's crazy. I mean, we didn't have cell phones when I was coming up. We didn't have cell phones. You had the big old brick one, right? Or you would have like yeah, like I even a flip phone I don't think existed just yet, because I'm not that old, but not that young. But I definitely had a chance to live in an era without computers, and then an era with computers. And you know, I would say that luckily for us, we had a healthy balance of going outside and then staying inside. But content creation definitely opens up a new world. You do have to have a specific niche that you talk about. You would have to have a personality that is charismatic and brings in an audience. Sometimes you don't even need that. You can have knowledge. But if you're trying to get ahead, these are going to be the key things for you. There's many more things out there, but when it comes down to getting ahead, you're going to have to start building today. And this is the thing, my YouTube, this channel, it's not monetized. I'm not making a penny off of this. I'm gaining a community, and that means a whole lot more to me. I've done it so many times. If you're watching this, you already know this. If you're somebody that's been with me since Timothy Allen, if you've been with me since all of these different phases of who I am, it's an interesting world that I have literally lived, characters I played, but all of them remain the same, which is they're all me. Different name, and but it's always the same person. And I like to stay as genuine, as positive, and as possible. You know, if I were to lay out my life, a lot of people could definitely ask me the question, why the heck? I gotta scratch my back, man. Hold on, man. I got. Ooh. But if I were to like lay out my life, some people would ask, why the heck are you still so nice? Why do you trust people? Why do you do this? And why are you so positive in a time where the economy, everything's against you? Because for the longest portion of my life, I've been so upset, angry about nothing comparable to now. And I had to ask that question, like, why am I so mad about stuff that when I'm a young guy I shouldn't be worrying about? And it's a hard time right now, and I want other things to go my way. I definitely do. But the only way it's going to get there is if I remain on the ball and see it through. But with that being said, thank you guys so much. I appreciate each and one of you. Familia de dinero. I hope this helps you out. I know that we can't get 2 big baskets of food in a grocery store, but what you can start doing is controlling everything about you. What are you good at? What are you bad at? What can you do and what can't you do? Are you making excuses to not do it? That's for you to answer, and for me to find out. If you guys shout me out on YouTube or something like, hey man, look what I did, I'll be like, yeah. Thank you guys. I'll catch you, familia de dinero, in the next one. Adios.